But I just kept pushing and trying to come up with unique ideas and unique products that I could sell and knock on doors. And I said, hey, how could I be so different that it makes my competition irrelevant? I was pushed up against the wall. Like, you have to stand out now or you're not going to survive.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. We hope you enjoyed this episode and get some value out of it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about transitioning from side gig to full-time. So I know a lot of people, and I've been in this situation before, where, maybe you're working a 9 to 5 or you have a full-time job, you have a side gig because you have a passion in something, you found a way to monetize it, and you're monetizing it now. You're doing it on the side gig. But how do you make that full-time? How do you get that freedom to go and do what you love to do and make money doing it and make it full-time? How do you make the money to be able to afford to do a full-time where it can, rather than being supplemental, it can actually, take over from your 9 to 5 and become a full-time job?
And you get that done by doing more sales. Sales. More sales will equate to freedom and full-time gig.
So let's say you're in the position right now where you're working a 9 to 5, right? But on the side you have what's a good business? A good maybe you love.
I can give my story.
Well,
I can give a real example rather than hypotheticals. So, helping small businesses improve their visibility through SEO and having a better website. And I worked at another company while I did that. It was a side gig. We had no idea where it was going to go. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that allowed us to have freedom was sales.
So,
because we only had a couple of clients, and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to pay the bills. It's just going to be a side gig for a while. We both worked full-time jobs. We'll go out on my lunch break, close a couple deals, take a couple projects, hand it off to Jay, build it up. And when we got to a certain amount of revenue, we were able to go out on our own, but it was not easy. Mm-hmm. When you just make just enough money that you could survive, you can take the risk on taking that step and going full-time with the business. I'm going to tell you right now, it is scary.
Well, yeah, because you're leaving security, you're leaving safety, and you're diving into this thing, and you got to make sure it works.
Yeah, it's not, you have to have the mental and spiritual just ability to conquer that and be able to handle that stress. A lot of people are just going to wave the white flag and they're going to give up. But I didn't give a shit.
But before you even, maybe you have the idea that you want to start this, you want to turn this side gig into a full-time job. You have to make sure that you're managing the risks. You're not just, going into it blindly. That would be kind of stupid. Maybe it would work out going in blindly, but you want to make sure that you understand the risk that you're taking. So, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this is this side gig turned into business potentially scalable? Can you scale it? Can you scale it to the point where you're making enough money to be able to, have that security leaving the full-time job? So that's one thing, and that I think that has to do with sales is the scalability. Is it what can you do with it? Is it scalable?
Mm-hmm. So if you or the person that you're working with is not a beast salesperson, then the risk is higher for you to take that side gig and go full time with it. Because if you're not closing deals consistently, because you're going to have some bullshit attrition, people are going to change their mind. You're going to have fluctuations in demand. And if you are not you yourself, as if it's a side gig, if you're doing all the selling and you're a really good salesperson, absolutely. But if you are working with someone else that's doing the sales, you need to just assess their sales capability while it's still a side gig to make the decision whether or not to go full time. Because you have to assess that so you can predict, okay, we're bringing in X amount of dollars a month. Sales are growing by 10% a month. I foresee us going in a good direction. We're making enough money right now to just get by. Let's take the leap. Or let's put aside some cash Let's do this for a year, stay employed, put aside some cash on the side. And then when we have a good amount of cushion, then go.
Yeah, prepare. So yeah, and then honestly, like take a piece of paper, right, or a notebook, whatever it is. Write down how much you're making off of your full-time job, monthly, whatever, weekly. How much you're making right now in this side gig. And now understand that this is how many people you need to sign on, or this is how many products you have to sell, or this is how many subscriptions you have, whatever it may be, in order to make this amount. So whatever that number is, you have to make sure that you're capable of fulfilling that number. So, you're saying if you're partnered up with someone who's doing sales, whatever it is, if it's just you have to make sure that, do this all before you make the decision. You got to make sure, do the numbers, write it down, understand the risk you're taking, so that when you dive into it, you're not as like freaked out. You're not blindsided. You understand you're managing the risk, and then understand what it takes in order to make that happen. So, and that's so many different things. There's so many aspects. You have to really grind. It's your full-time job now. This also opens up a lot of time. Before, when you had minimal time, this is how many sales you were able to make, or this is how many products you were able to push out, or whatever it is. Now that it's your full-time job, how much more can you scale that? Is all the inventory you have selling out? If it is, 100% going full-time. Use all your time to make the product, source the product, whatever it is, do the service. Now it's a full-time job. You're able to provide more and sell more with the time that you have now opened up. So that's the benefit of moving over to full-time. But, it's all about managing those risks is what I think of, to make that decision. How do you do it?
I just think about how much sacrifice and I just think about what I went through to build my company up. And
did you guys, okay, so before you did that, when you were working a full-time job, before you did that, did you manage those risks? Did you analyze those risks, see how much you could be making?
I'm the type of guy to just run.
Yeah.
I know I'm on the podcast and I'm trying to give people the best sound advice, because but I just kept pushing and trying to come up with unique ideas and unique products that I could sell and knock on doors. And I said, hey, how could I be so different that it makes my competition irrelevant? I was pushed up against the wall. Like, you have to stand out now, or you're not going to survive. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, let me think about it. Okay, all these small businesses, no ad agency wants to work with them because they all think they're broke. Let me put together a program that's affordable, that will help them grow, and I can show them performance, and then I'll have their business for long term. I was trying to come up with this idea, and I had, like I said before in the other episode, about like reviving downtown. So a lot of like small, gift shops and restaurants and stuff you see downtown in different cities, in the little downtown communities. They're kind of like, sometimes they're struggling, and, they have inadequate digital marketing, and they don't have much of a digital presence, or they're limited to their knowledge or whatever. And I said, hey, it's time for us to grab the bull by the horns and help small businesses in these communities do better. So I positioned it like it was, which it was. It was almost like a noble program, a noble cause to try to help those in business that are somewhat neglected by the bigger agencies that do amazing work. So that was my whole angle.
So when you quit, your full-time job, and you took this at full-time, how long did it take you to get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm comfortable, I have that security again? Do you know how long it took you to get to that point?
A while.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of struggle in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's,
you barely have a portfolio. I'm trying to link up with guys that have a portfolio. I'm trying to partner up with them, yada, yada, yada. And then like the whole SEO piece, because there's different sides of SEO and there's different levels of search engine optimization. And we had a slew of guys that had an approach that we didn't agree with or whatever, just trying to build the infrastructure of a
trial
company.
and error.
Because when it comes to like agency stuff, you have different talents, you have different skill sets, you have different disciplines. And when you're trying to piece all these people together to build, say, Voltron.
Ready to form.
Voltron.
Activate interlock. Dynatherms connected. Infracells up. mega thrusters are go!
Let's go, Voltron Force!
Form feet and legs. Form arms and body. And all form the head.
You know, you have this guy, the green lion, and then you have the main body, the head. You got to piece that team together, and if one of them are weak, then you're putting out a shitty product. So, you know, we had challenges. So there are some positions that are more challenging to fill than others. And then we see a lot of just different personality types, and we get it. Everybody's different, but we see different personality types when it comes to the different departments. Because a lot of, like, you know, writers are straight shooters. Yeah, I create content. Social media is a certain type of vibe, same as video production.
So hiring was definitely
I have to say, you know, video production was a challenge. Yeah. I'm just not going to go down that rabbit hole.
So hiring back then was almost essential for the business to succeed.
There's no magic button where you just hit it. You're building Voltron.
Yeah.
You're literally building. You got your content writers, you got your graphic designers, you have your web developers, your web designers, your user experience people, your social media managers, your social media advertising people, your Google keep going, on-page search engine optimization, off-page search engine optimization. Then you have your, like, really high-end, like, PR connections and stuff like that. It goes up, and you're trying to build this amazing team to give the clients amazing results. And sometimes one of those pieces aren't working very well, and you got to replace them.
So you added more services on, and you added more people, which equated to more services in order to, you know, get higher quality clients, higher paying clients, stuff like that.
Like I'll remember when we were charging our clients a certain fee, and then social media became so relevant that we were pushed our back against the wall, and we had to add a whole new department. The way our program works is we're going to cover everything for you at this price. So we had a whole nother thing that was added, and we had to absorb all those costs. You know, we didn't have a ton of clients then, but there was a little bit of we felt a little bit of that, and we had to adjust our pricing accordingly, because we had a whole social media department. But that's the thing. Like, what I did was a side gig, and when I wanted to go full time with it, what I have to stress, it is a struggle, and it's a mental game. You just need to push forward. You can't give up. Like, you shouldn't give up. Let me give you a hypothetical. Let's just say you try to go out on your own and you do something, whatever it is, whatever industry it is. Say you just can't make your bills. Go back to working for somebody, moonlight, or do it on the side. They call moonlighting. Do it on the side. Be patient. Build it up. Then try again. So if you fall down, dust yourself off, get back up, go. Just don't, like, completely give up on it, because if that's truly what you want to do with your life, you might have some hiccups here and there, but you have to have the mental capacity and the fortitude or whatever, just to handle that type of those waves and all that stuff. So
was there a point within that journey where it's like, you know, maybe it was towards the beginning of the business? Well, you mentioned that you didn't really have an option, which is honestly,
I had
like,
no option. I had to go. I had to do it. There was not, usually if you're put in that position where you have to survive, it's like the hottest fire you can think of. It's under your ass. Boom. It just pushes you. Like, you can accomplish some insane things. So I perform at my highest under stress. So what I do, here's a little mental trick. What people do is when they bring in a lot of revenue, they get lazy. They kick back. I'm not saying you.
Don't look at me like
that. I'm not saying I laughed. No, I looked at you because you laughed. I pretend that revenue didn't come in. I pretend that all I have to eat is a can of beans and a spoon of cheese. Like in my mind, I tell myself I need to survive.
And then the next month is a higher goal.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, I said, Jake, next month we're gonna hit this. We're gonna hit this. I changed my minimum, what's acceptable. I changed that to facilitate growth, but I never kick back, no matter how big of an opportunity it is, how much business comes in, because you don't know what's gonna fuck up or what's gonna happen, or
You never know what can happen.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
I feel like that's a big lesson learned.
Oh.
Trying to, building businesses, you never know what's gonna happen. You just that's all part of it.
Dude,
you just gotta push through it.
I heard of a company not too long ago, or not too far away from us, that had 50 employees. They fired 40 of them. I was like, oh, geez, what happened? A couple applicants came in. What happened over there? Oh, they lost one of their clients. What? You lost one client and you fired 40 people? Holy shit.
Well, that's
Spread your risk out.
Yeah.
Spread your risk out, dude. There's nothing worse than having most of your revenue across the smallest amount of clients. You want the most amount of clients to spread your revenue out. So if you lose one, next. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's good to have an affordable product. It's good to make yourself widely available to people with smaller budgets, because those are people that are going to keep the lights on.
Now we're just talking about scalability and all that stuff.
Well, it's relevant because the people who are thinking about making their side gig into a full-time gig need to understand that. Don't only go after the larger accounts, because that will put you in a position where you are opening up yourself to, because the risk goes higher. The larger the account, if you lose that account for some reason, it could be economic, it could be market conditions. Shit, I've seen people not want to do a growth program because something happened on the stock market. Like I said before, they see something that happens on the TV and they're like, "Oh my God, I shouldn't grow," and that's up to them. That's their prerogative. They can make that horrible decision, but it's not my job to teach them how to be a good business person over and over again after they don't listen. So I just kind of like respectfully bow out and I pay attention to what's going on. I see what's going on, but I'm trying to get at, rather than me rambling, reset. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-mm. Don't put all your eggs in 5 baskets.
Spread your risk.
Don't put all your eggs in 10 baskets. Put your eggs in 100 baskets. Spread it out. That way, you have baskets of eggs and baskets of cheesy bread or whatever you want, all spread out. You got a basket of meatballs. I'm getting hungry.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified every time we post a new episode. Also, check us out on Instagram for updates, clips, and more. Peace out. See you next time. We out.